Murder in the morning from the Hidden Killers podcast.
15 and 58 pounds. That's not a good thing, but that's the reality of a little girl, 15-year-old. I shouldn't say little girl. 15-year-old is, you're almost driving, to put it into perspective. You are driving in some states.
Yeah.
I know my kids, they've gotten permits at 15. To be 58 pounds and not have some sort of like degenerative disease going on is scary and horrific. A Wisconsin couple being charged with child neglect and abuse after a teen girl weighing 58 pounds was found unresponsive. The Wisconsin couple, Brittany E. Hull, who's 31, and Tristan P. Hull, who's 38, both residents of Wausau, Wisconsin, Rib Mountain, Wisconsin, facing severe charges of child neglect resulting in great bodily harm and child abuse causing great bodily harm after a shocking incident involving the malnourished 15-year-old girl. Charges filed following an investigation into an October 15th medical emergency at Hull's residence. According to authorities, a deputy responded to a call that day and discovered an emergency medical technician performing CPR on a teenage girl inside an ambulance. Despite their efforts, the life-saving procedure lasted a harrowing 25 minutes. Tristan Hull, who was present at the incident, told the deputy that the girl had consumed a protein shake and subsequently experienced breathing difficulties. Her condition deteriorated rapidly, and she became unresponsive. Brittany Hull, identified as the person with the girl during the medical emergency. Shockingly, the girl, who had stopped growing for several years, was found to be just 4 feet tall and weighed a mere 58 pounds when taken to the Marshfield Medical Center 5 days later. Hospital staff diagnosed her with severe dehydration, malnutrition, and organ failure. They ruled out any medical condition or self-inflicted harm, stating that her condition was primarily due to severe malnutrition. Medical experts noted that the girl's weight was 32 pounds below the normal range for her age, and she was approximately 5 inches shorter than the average height for girls her age. A doctor attributed these conditions to, again, extreme malnutrition. Further investigation revealed that the girl had attended a local church's children's program for several years, and concerned church staff had observed her health deteriorate over time. According to a pastor at the church, the girl often struggled to focus due to extreme hunger. She would frequently sneak food, even hiding snacks in her pockets and eating in secret to avoid detection by Brittany Hull. While hospitalized, the girl expressed relief at being able to eat freely and promptly gained weight. This contradicted Brittany Hull's claims that she had worked with a nutritionist to develop a diet for the girl to address her attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, as the girl's brain function was found to be appropriate. A chilling revelation: the girl reported that Brittany and Tristan Hull regularly prevented her from eating breakfast and snacks, strictly controlling her access to food, even placed her separately during meals. Brittany Hull restricted her water intake to a mere 16 ounces and sometimes had to feed her because the girl's wrists were too weak.
Oh, my God.
The discovery was made in the girl's living conditions as well. Her bedroom had a lock on the door. All windows were secured, an alarm system installed. Books were taped to her mattress to force her to sleep in a certain position. She had no blankets or bedding. Evidence also emerged from Tristan Hull's cell phone, including messages discussing the girl shivering in her room, security camera footage showing the girl being forced to stand with her hands raised for extended periods, crying, shaken, while both Brittany and Tristan Hull were seen entering the room and making her raise her hands higher despite her distress. If convicted, this couple faces a maximum sentence of 65 years in prison. And the fun part about this case is it's happening in your own backyard in Wausau, Wisconsin, and it turns out Facebook friends.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends. Now, I will preface it with this. I don't know her. When we were in radio, Tony, were you here during the Facebook days?
No, Facebook. I was there. I wasn't even there during MySpace days. We didn't have social media back then. I left in 2002. Yeah.
Okay. So we were required as air talent to basically accept all friend requests. So I've got about, shut up. You shut up over there. I've got probably, I think, 3,500 friends. There's a lot of listeners that I'm friends with that I don't know.
Yeah, that's most of my Facebook group is like from radio, where it's like,
Exactly.
and I don't know who any of them are.
So I immediately looked up her name and I went, oh shit, because I'm friends.
Yeah.
And I spent a good hour and a half scrolling through her stuff to see if I could see what this girl looked like. She's not on there. She's not on her Facebook page. Her other two kids are. This child, this 15-year-old, is a stepchild. So it's her husband's kid. Now, the husband is in the picture. He was arrested as well. Because this is literally in my backyard, the emergency response team that picked her up is one I worked for as an EMT.
Mm-hmm.
So, it hits really hard. Like, if I had still been working there, would I have gotten this call? Possibly. But what really is pissing me off the most, not just the fact that this was going on, but I'm concerned that she had been attending church and going to, a child's program within a church. They saw how emaciated she was, how she was focused on hunger, and it continued.
Yeah.
I worked at a vet clinic and I saw somebody lift up their dog by their leash, like lift them off the scale with their leash because the dog was just misbehaving and didn't want to be on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately walked over to that pet parent and said, you will not do that again.
Mm-hmm.
You just put undue pressure on their trachea. And that's not an appropriate way to deal with a dog. So I immediately stepped in and went, oh, fuck no.
Yeah.
So what's going on at this church that they see this going on and you didn't fucking turn her in?
I don't know the answer
I'm mad
to that.
about this. This should not be happening. You have a fucking mandatory duty to report. And if I'm wrong, I will backtrack, but this is not acceptable.
No, that's the thing. There are mandatory reporters for things like that. Without more evidence, I think some people's hands are tied sometimes. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that's how the system works half the time of, look, this is wrong, and they raise the red flag, and it's like, okay, we'll check and everything. I mean, how many times do we have stories of, and CPS came to the house and they checked it out and everything was good and the kids were dead next week? It happens a lot. And quite honestly, here's my gut, and this is just my experience of having kids and going to events and stuff where, the like church camps or what have you, insert event here where kids get together and there's a lot of random children there and you drop your kids off and you pick them up later and, you make observations. You'd be reporting a good chunk of those people, depending on where you're at. And I don't think we have a system that's in place enough to do it, to handle that sort of thing. There was, and without a lot of evidence, I mean, you can look at a lot of these kids at depending on where you're at and what events you're going to, and when these kids all mix, and you could go, this is not a good home that this kid's going back to, and you know it. Now, not every home where there's poverty going on is there abuse and horrible things happening. No, but there are a lot where there is that don't get examined, and it's not just poverty. I mean, it doesn't necessarily always reflect on income by any means. It can be in anything. But there's a lot of signs where it's like, look, the signs are here, other than the kid running up to you saying, I'm getting beaten or having visible bruises on them. The behaviors that they exhibit, a lot of that, you can see signs that's like, something's not right here. Something is really not right here. But
and that's the thing.
But are there the resources?
Did these people, did the people at the church bring something up and the parents said, oh, she's got an eating issue and whatever, and we're doing everything. And maybe they look the other way, but I still, and maybe I'm just the nosy neighbor, but I wouldn't just be complacent to go, oh, okay, that's what that is. I personally would say somebody needs to go visit this kid in this home and see what's going on and make sure that the parents have the tools that they need. If she does have a disorder of some sort, that they are dealing with it appropriately. And then they would find out well, fuck, they're not. Do a little more research. This poor kid is way underweight, not even the right size for someone her age. Something was going on here. And it wasn't that she was being hidden in a basement. Nobody knew she existed. They knew she existed, and they knew what she looked like.
There's a lot of fear that people have of speaking up and saying anything as well. Again, these are not excuses. I'm just saying, here's likely why these things did not happen. Things that
and you're
we should
being
change.
rational too.
Yeah.
I'm being extremely emotional and like, what the fuck's going on here? I'm that person. I make that phone call. I will call 911 and go, here's what's going on. I don't have a problem doing that, but you're right. A lot of people do.
Well, I mean, and there's fear of retaliation. There's fear of getting yourself mixed up into somebody else's business that you already got enough shit on your plate. The last thing, I mean, I don't want to get involved in anybody's shit. If I saw something like this happening, I would report it. But I would also be like, fuck, now it's like, this goes somewhere. I'm going to have to testify this or that. And it's like, I have enough going on in my world, but that's the thing. This is where people need to help each other out and speak up, especially when you see a child being abused, without a fucking doubt. But I think a lot of people, it's like, I got enough shit to worry about with my own kids. I'm not going to concern myself with this because what I don't know won't hurt me, or whatever bullshit people tell themselves. Or they'll rationalize it like you just said. I can guarantee if someone did say something to those parents, and the parents honestly didn't look, they were not the ones that would stand out in a crowd as being the abusers. No. They looked like normal folks, if you will, as whatever you want to call normal. They didn't stand out in a crowd as like, oh, holy shit. And they probably did calmly answer those questions. If people asked, "What's this? We're working on it. It's a struggle." And then the questions are lifted. Oh, okay, they answered that. That's what happened. Only once you get into someone's home and you go behind those closed, locked doors and you discover the bed with books taped to it and no bedding for the child to sleep on and the emaciation of the child and lack of food and water, do you get the full picture. But it takes quite a bit to get that far, even for the police to walk into a home and do that sort of a check without other evidence. And it's a flaw the way our system works. It truly is. But it is the system we have, and it's extremely broken. And that's what allows this sort of thing to happen. The good thing in this story is the fact that she's not dead. So hopefully she can get the rehabilitation that she needs and can go on and have a semblance of a healthy life going forward without these parents in the picture. That would probably be the best thing for her. But again, we'll see how the system works on that end of things as well, and the rights that those parents may or may not have going forward. And that'll ultimately probably be decided by a judge or a jury.
Well, and to that end, I am still hanging out in the jury pool in this area. They keep calling my name, so
when they call you to this one,
myself booted.
You got yourself booted from this case, Stacey.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.